morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm your host, Cliff Krieger. I'm joined from Florida by George Zaroulis. George, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. And John McDonough, our producer participant. Today is Monday, the 3rd of April, and we're expecting Fru any second now. Fru is here. Hi, Fru.
Hi, Cliff. Hi, everyone.
Good morning, Fru.
Happy Monday.
Good morning, Fru.
Happy Monday, Mike and George. We missed you. I hope you are doing well.
I just wanted to, you're talking about New York City there again. This doesn't surprise me with this current DA, Alvin Bragg, because he gave directions to his office not to prosecute some of these crimes. And as far as indicting Trump, he ran for election saying he was going to get Trump. So what bothers me is here's somebody that's supposed to enforce the law and follow the law, and he's going after somebody to make it look like the person has to prove they're innocent. And in the United States, as far as I know, you're innocent until proven guilty. It's on his end to prove that Trump or other people are guilty. And the way it's being framed is that, it's already been decided that Trump is guilty, and Trump's got to figure out a way to prove he's innocent. That's not how it's supposed to work.
No, it's not. Rui, you got any thoughts?
You win elections not only from your base, but you win election by winning the independents and those who have not made up their minds. So that's where the power is. Whatever opinion we have, we are entitled to our own opinion. And the DA is voted in by the people of that state to enforce the laws of those states. And the laws have been meant to protect the powerful and not the weak. And when each time they want to implement the law fairly, the voice of the power through the media drowns the voice of those that the law has been prosecuting forever. And that is what we see. Mike, you make a statement. Every day, those who don't have power, they have been condemned before they have never been considered as innocent before guilty. They have always been considered guilty before you prove yourself innocent. There have been situations visible that we cannot talk about, that someone commits, the whole world sees it, and they elect 12 people to come and sit and judge their faith. Just visually, a decision is made before the court even pronounces it. So when you are talking about law depends in the eye of the holder, he who sees it based on his vantage point and based on how much power he has to will, so that law can protect him or her.
No, I agree with you, Fru. I mean, it's not, this doesn't apply just to Trump. It applies to a lot of people. I agree with you entirely that, we're supposed to be assumed innocent until proven guilty. And I see too many cases where it's already been decided before anything even starts. And I mean, having sat on jury trials before, I've seen where they try to twist things around when you can see from the evidence that person's not guilty. And then, I'm wondering to myself a couple times when I've sat on jury trials, why was this case even brought up? Why are we wasting the taxpayers' dollars and time of everybody when it's clear that that person didn't commit that crime? So I don't disagree with you, Fru. I'm just using Trump as an example because if they can do it to a president, a former president, coming after somebody, then where are we? What chance experience do we have?
But that also goes to say that no one is above the law, Mike. I have also sat in jury duty. But the people who know the law, they define you that you have to look at this case through the lens that they have defined to you, not through what is true and real. So when you sat there, it is not really out of your own personal judgment. You are looking at it based on what they ask you to look at it. And coming from that base without knowing the law, they tell you that this is what happened, this, ignore the truth, ignore this, and go by what the law says. And people go there ignorant, and coming out, their conscience judge them through their lives because they have been boxed in to look narrowly.
I understand what you're saying, Prue, but the thing is what bothers me is they're going after somebody like Trump, and they're not going after somebody like Hunter Biden, who they've got tapes, they've got evidence. They're not charging him with stuff. So if that's the unfair thing, and I agree with you that with cases that are brought, there's a lot of people that are unfairly brought to trial or charged with crimes. There is a lot of people.
So, what crime did Trump commit?
That state, they voted the DA. The DA is the law enforcement officer there. And if he determines that because of the rules and what his job details, we should not prejudge him and draw conclusions based because we support this person or because we support that person. And that is what goes with public opinion. We like to change the narrative of public opinion based on our own biases and basically without knowing the facts, just because of hearsay or just to taint the public before even the truth ever comes out. And based on what we are saying here, we are taking sides. Hunter Biden is not the question now. Why should we deviate? I mean, you bring things like that, you already state a point in public that you are an advocate, which indirectly that's not the law and that's not fair. Let's look at what happened. What is it? What is it about? Not about the individual, but about what the law says and what the rules of this country and even of that state says. If you were elected DA, now Mike, if you are he who wears the shoe knows the angle it pinches most, and we can only see the shoe from the surface. That shoe is bright and clean or shining, but until you wear that shoe, before you know that what you see outside is not what you feel.
Well, I just want to point out one thing on how this process works. A lot of people don't realize it wasn't the DA who indicted the Trump. Now it was the grand jury. And a lot of people don't understand how grand jury indictments work. When a grand jury hears evidence, that is evidence that the DA is presenting only. The person who's going to be indicted does not have any chance to discount or to show maybe that evidence or whatever is being told to the grand jury is true or not. So they're only seeing one side of the coin. A lot of this, especially with Trump, is for optics. It's all political. So I don't know what the people are so scared inside the Beltway, inside Washington, that they are going to this extreme, because they've been after Trump every single time. And what worries me is if they have the power to go after a former president, what are they going to do to you, me, and all the other people?
Okay, but fairness, the grand jury's job is to keep an eye on the DA. So the DA has to present some sort of a case to convince the grand jury to go to trial. But you're right. The DA didn't indict Donald Trump. It was the grand jury.
And the DA can present a certain angle to his advantage, his or her advantage, to convince the grand jury that this person should be indicted.
And on that note, Mike, if you advocating that when the grand jury sits, they should bring the person to also present his or her own side in front of the grand jury? Then what is a trial for? I believe the grand jury is to recommend so that they give an opportunity for that person to defend him or yourself.
I'm agreeing with you, Fru, that it's unfair the way they're doing some stuff. And Trump now is like a focal point in the nation. But that's only one little thing, what's going on in multiple counties and districts all over the country, that people are targeted. And that's not good.
Okay, well, speaking of unfair indictments, the poor superintendent of schools was interrogated by Peru here about 2 weeks ago, and you can find that 1 hour interview on it's on YouTube, and I think if you email the producer or me or Fru, we can send you the URL. I listened to it. I thought it was a pretty interesting interview, and I thank Fru for having done that. Thanks, Fru.
Thank you very much. I had the honor and privilege to talk to Dr. Boyd, and who is really, I would say, a luminary. And I think what I do on African Hour and what I've been doing since 2000 is to walk into those who govern us here in Lowell and interview them, to talk to the Lowellians what services and what their job entails as we elect or appoint them to administer Lowell. So it was on that note that I felt that education is very, very vital. And who else could come to talk to us than the superintendent of schools here in Lowell, Dr. Joel Boyd. And I believed he actually turned on the lights on so many things and talked about a lot of things that majority of people did not know. So I really thank him for coming on the African Hour. My next scheduled interviews are the mayor of Lowell, of UMass Lowell, Dr. Jiang. So I talked to her. She was very excited and said that right now she's, after the inauguration and everything, she will come on my show. So I really appreciate all dignitaries to come and talk to our people. It's only through then that we can sensitize, inform, and the people of Lowell. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, also, you're becoming one of those people, or trying to. How's your campaign coming for city council?
Well, on that note, you have given me the wonderful platform and you have actually spoken for me. So I thank you, and I think maybe you could be my public relations person. So, but on that note, I would like to say that Lowell has been home to me. Lowell was the first city from Bamenda on July 21st that I landed at Lowell Airport, and one good Samaritan accompanied me in the train. We reached at Lowell Gallagher train station at night. I gave the address where I was going. Those days, life was good. He got out of the train, got the map, got the address, took his map, and asked me to ride with him. He drove right to 488 Moody Street. And there was an old man there of blessed memory now, because my brother had studied at University of Lowell then. So he came home, and before coming, he had rented that apartment for me, 488 Moody Street. He said, when you go, you open the door, this man will know you, because we are like identical twins. So at 10 p.m., I knocked the door. The old man was sitting there. He jumped on his face, hey, Pat, because my brother's name is Patrick. So I came, he opened the door. He said, oh, your room is upstairs. And since then, he took me like a father. He's of blessed memory now. That address is 488 Moody Street. I have lived in the acre since then. I've been been a Lowellian more than I've been at home. But talking about my campaign, Rick, I always believe that I am because we are, and we are because I am. Lowell has given me quite a lot. My children were born here, went to school here, and since then I've always believed that when people welcome you, you learn how to know them, and also give back to the community that has given you more. And I learned that early. I used to go to the city hall and sit there, and I learned that you have to volunteer your services to the community to be able to know the community better and give back. And in that wisdom actually drove me around. So I volunteered in most of all the non-profit organizations here and served on so many boards. I was equally involved with the Lowell Police in the 1999 through 2008 through the police race relations. My mentor was Chief Ed Davis. I attended Lowell Chiefs of Police conferences with him here in Lowell, California. We even went to the Justice Department. I was also expressing the immigrant perspective of policing, and I believe with all that, I really think that I'm ready to serve Lowell. I've served on the board of Lowell Telecommunication for so many years, on the board of Lowell Charter Public School. I served on the board of One Lowell, on the board of African. I was one of the co-founders of African Cultural Association and been the president of that association for 10 years. I served on the board of Cultural Organization of Lowell. I served on the board of Lowell General Patient Advocacy. So I've always been there to give back to the community that has given more to me.
So, the only question of interest to those of us in Lowell is, are you going to have a party? Oh, I mean a party where we can go and eat and...
If that really plays into me, I've always also pushed about this potluck initiative. There are 7 continents in the world. There are 7 days in a week. And if you come to Lowell, you want to travel around the world in 7 days, spend 7 days in Lowell, you would have met anyone from any part of the world. And we know people by eating, by drinking, by socializing. So look forward to such occasions for us to be able to build bridges and know each other.
Okay then. Sounds good. Has anybody got any thoughts on that?
Yep. I do.
Go ahead.
Fru, I hope you wrote all that stuff down, because there are probably 2 Lowellians watching right now. So I'm going to ask you to repeat what you just said around 7:25.
Okay, so we'll bring this up again.
All right.
But I thought that what Fru said about giving back, there's a new book out. This got mailed to me by that famous Argentinian Juan Perón. Actually, John Richard Perón from Minnesota is a friend of mine, retired Navy captain. But this book right here, Bill of Obligations, we talk about the Bill of Rights, and Richard Haas, who's the head of the Council on Foreign Relations down in New York, wrote this book. Is if you're in this country, be a citizen of this country. And frankly, I'm against the idea of dual citizenship. I think that if you're going to be a citizen of the United States, be a citizen of the United States. Anyway, Scott Lehigh, who used to be in the Lowell Sun, writes for the Globe now. He's got a review out on this book.
Cliff, would you also fight against Americans who have dual citizenship around the world? If that is the view that you will advocate, it should be multilateral, not only against others. Most Americans
think that's wrong.
Okay, if that's your base, then it should not just be from others who are coming here having citizenship, but you would not talk about Americans who also have citizenship in those countries around the world.
Yeah, like all those people who were born in America like their parents and grandparents, but who apply for Irish citizenship. I don't think they should.
Good.
Yeah, I'd like to be consistent on that. So, Prue has sort of been on the leading edge of this next topic, and the headline I saw was, Russia seems to be having some success in strategic competition, even as it prosecutes Putin's war. And the point is, we're all up in arms about Russia going into Ukraine, but there's a lot of countries out there that don't seem to care. What's your sense of it, Fru?
Well, it's about Western interests. You know what happened in 1885 in Germany, the Berlin Conference? Russia was invited. That's when all of it sudden, after the Europeans saw that they could fight and kill themselves, they discovered a common place where they could go there and impact their domination. They sat in Berlin and brought the African map, and with a stroke of a pen, they divided families and carved them into nations. Russia was there as an observer, but Russia did not take any part of that continent. He saw that it was not right. And all along, you have the Western powers call Africa colonies. Russia had no colonies in Africa. In Congo, the population of Belgium is like one state in Congo. But the king of Belgium massacred almost 50 million Congolese, amputating them and without Western saying anything. All over Africa, in South Africa during apartheid, it was Russia who came there and supported for the liberation of Africa. So now, the West have always wanted Africa buried for their resources, and mostly the Third World sees that hypocrisy. At the UN, if anything concerns the West, the old boys club, they come there and make their own decision. Look at Libya. Libya was the most stable, progressive country in Africa. Where is Libya today? And do you think the world has changed? You have amateur videos that are educating the world. The West could not monopolize the world through the radio and through the TV now. I think the one thing that has actually helped to liberate people is technology, social media. So when you talk about Russia, people are seeing the double standard. And you saw the meeting the BRICS that happened in South Africa. You had India, you had China, you had Brazil, you had South Africa. And if you look at that population, that is more than 3/4 of the world population with Russia. Does that explain something? That's where I can end.
So, this is not going well for us. Last year we had 29 nations supporting Russia in the UN, and today we have 35. Do you think Vice President Harris's trip has done anything to change this?
Well, very important question. When you change the curtain, do you change the furniture in the house? Don't you think that people are seeing through the curtain now? It's like you have the British Prime Minister who's of Asian descent. Do you think that will change anything to the Asians that they don't see through? These are institutions that have lived thousands of years before the West also liberation. But the West, China, India, African kingdoms of so, they have a culture consistent thousands of years. But the West have actually not nation like France, England, their population is not up to that the population of one country in Africa, like Nigeria. They have veto power, and they go and sit there. They decide on the old man's club to decide to go and bomb this nation, to decide to go and bomb this nation. Then we glorify it in the Western media, and then some of us come on media and talk ignorantly and look down condescendingly on these other countries as third world, first world, and using things like the World Bank and giving aid. That aid is aid that is sucking and making this nation not grow so that the West can advance. It is going through that. And in all these countries that I've named, mostly in Africa, the most youngest population, the most educated, vibrant, and looking forward. I believe some wise person in this country said, you fool some people, you can only fool some people some of the time, but you will never fool all the people all of the time. And there is one famous musician who put that into a song.
No, I didn't know about the song.
Well, Bob Marley put that, and also fool me once, shame on you. Continue to fool me, shame on me. And that's what the world is coming up to see now.
Yeah, how do we see things down there in Florida?
Well, let's see. There's a lot going on in Florida. The legislature's in session now.
No, I meant about our foreign policy and whether or not we're getting support for stopping Russia and Ukraine.
Well, most of the people I've seen around here, they're looking at it. I don't think they're happy that we're spending so much money from the U.S. funds for this war in Ukraine, because they don't see an end to the war. I think if people saw an end to the conflict, they'd be more supportive. But that's right now, we don't see an end to this conflict coming soon. I know there's been talks there about having a truce so they can do talks, but Ukraine doesn't want that. And I think a truce would be to Russia's advantage, because it would give them time to regroup and resupply their ammo and get their armaments all back up to snuff. Right now, they're struggling, as far as troops and ammunition and other items. So I just see this thing being a mire and going on and on, because Ukrainians are not going to negotiate giving up any land or property.
You have China and Russia talking, and if they get together, we're in deep trouble.
See, the West intransigent, that is what makes things worse. Cliff, if we were listening, maybe I wasn't understanding what you were saying. Before, 29 countries were siding with Russia. Now, 30-something countries. And when I see Mike, you are talking about Russia getting depleted. When once you are making these alliances, what does that mean? You are getting the population. You are getting the support. You are getting everything. But when we go, if we are stuck in this Western idea that it is only we who are right, we are saying it. You only have to come and bow in front of we. The world has changed. If you see, if the population is drifting towards Russia, if I were in your situation, I would see where the wind is blowing and see what I can do to be able to soften my own arrogance, if I can use that word. But if we, as George just mentioned, China, the population of China is more than that of Europe and the US combined. You have North Korea, they are not saying anything. You have Pakistan, they are not saying anything. You have all the whole of Latin America, they are not saying anything. Because all of because of imperialistic West. So who do you think these people will side with? Let's be realistic, and when we are talking of things, we try to put ourselves in the other person's shoe and see where we can reasonably see how we can get to a negotiation table and get this war end. When two elephants fight, who suffer? The people of Ukraine are the ones whose blood is pouring on the streets. These leaders who are flying in planes all around, they are not suffering. They are negotiating for their own benefit. War is a bonanza to make money, and they are feeding on the blood of the the defenseless Ukrainians to only sell guns. What if we just quiet those guns? People will talk, and peace will come.
John, you have any thoughts on this?
The logistics involved with China coming into play here are like crazy. China's so far away from Ukraine. In order for China to bring any support, I don't know if these are communist countries like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and Tunisia and Afghanistan. There are a lot of countries that China has to march through to get to Ukraine. So I don't know logistically how the U.S. is getting the tanks there, how the Germans are getting the tanks to Ukraine. I don't know how logistically how this stuff is happening without these boats being sunk that are shipping these tanks to Ukraine. The logistics of how things are happening, it seems to me it's more of a war of words than anything else.
The other thing that we have to watch out for is that Vietnam and Cambodia have come to a mutual agreement so that they would protect each other. So if Russia and they get together, we're gonna be in deep trouble. China, Vietnam, Cambodia, if all those people get together with the experience that they've gained fighting wars against us, I think we're in trouble.
Cliff, you know this more than I do. From the League of Nations to the UN. Another world organization will come up because once the West is so arrogant, you have the League of Nations, you have to the UN, you have the non-alignment nations. That's how history evolves. And with this coming, it's moving the countries into leagues based on the arrogance of the minority of these other communities, and the world is getting different. So I'm just saying that if I were the West,
I agree the world is getting different, but the idea that everyone should follow their lead is not unique to the West.
We were going to give Pruitt a chance to talk again, too, after the break.
Yeah.
Right. Welcome to City Life. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. It's Monday the 3rd of April. I'm joined by, for a few minutes, Fruin Kembang, who's then going to be off to work. Somewhere down in Florida are George Zaroulis and Mike Smith. Mike's back into the picture. So, Fru's with us for just a couple of minutes before he has to go off to work. And he last week announced his candidacy for city council. So, Fru, could you tell us a little about your running in your district, right?
Yes, Cliff. Thank you very much for giving this wonderful platform. Again, my name is Fruin Kembang, and if I could take you back on history lane, in August 25, 1985, I left Bamenda, Cameroon. In August 27, 1985, I landed at Logan Airport. My first residence was 488 Moody Street, and how I got to 488 Moody So he reached at the train station in Lowell. I gave him that address around 9:30 at night. In those days, we didn't have GPS. He got his map in the car. He said, I'm going to help you. He drove me around and brought me to 488 Moody Street. My brother had studied at UMass Lowell and at U Lowell then. Came home, had secured that apartment for me and told me that when I go there, there's an old man there, he will recognize me. That old good Samaritan is of late now. When I arrived at 10 p.m., he said, hey, Pat, I know you were coming because my brother's name was Patrick. So he walked me up to the room, and since he was like an guardian angel to me, and I've been in the Acres since 1985. So, Lowell has given me so much as I went to school here in Lowell. My family, raised my family here in Lowell, and Lowell has been a way home, and the Lowellians welcomed me like a son, and I take Lowell as my home. I have also, since then, I learned a lot, and the first thing that I realized is that you have to meet people, go out there and talk to people that you don't know, and that's how you know your community. So I volunteered in most of the non-profit organizations. In my early days, I used to go and sit at the city council, and one thing with my own members of the community, we thought that there was nothing about Africa here in Lowell, and we decided that it's good that we bring Africa to Lowell. How could we best bring Africa to Lowell, to Lowellians to enjoy? We thought that the best way to do that is through our culture, celebrate our culture of music and food. So we sat together, a few of us, and started the African Cultural Association, which sponsored the African Festival. We brought a taste of Africa to share with the people of Lowell, and I was the president of that wonderful organization that has become a fixture with the African Festival annually here in Lowell. And then through that initiative, I was able to also one day walk into Superintendent of Police Ed Davis, whom I admire very well. After 911, I walked into his office because I was volunteering at LTC. They trained me how to run my own show. I started my African Hour. I walked into his office. I said, Chief, as like this with 911, people in my community are mostly the Muslim people in my community are scared. Would you come on my show, on a live show, that you can assuage their fears? Chief Ed Davis was very gracious enough. He came on my show, and my show was the first live show that people within the African community, the immigrant community, they called, and he actually assuaged and assured them their safety here in Lowell. And through that initiative, I really became involved with the Lowell Police, also bringing the immigrant perspective for the police to know also that we come from all over the world. Our experiences in policing is quite different, and if the police could know this, it will help their job and help. So with that, I was able to travel with Chief Ed Davis to the Chiefs of Police conferences in California, in Sacramento, the Eastern Chiefs of Police Conference, and we even went to the Justice Department in Washington talking about police race relations. I was a member of that. So with all that experience, I always like to give back to the community. I volunteered in most of the non-profit organizations, volunteered at the Folk Festival. I also volunteered. I was a board member on the cultural organization of Lowell, Lowell Chartered Public School. I was a board member on Lowell General Patient Advocacy Board, One Lowell, Lowell Police Race Relation Council, Cameroonians of Lowell Association, African Cultural Association. I'm always reaching out there to give back to Lowell. And it has really come time that Lowell has stood up for me, my family, and everything, that I would like also to serve Lowell a little. And that is why I think that to do that, you have to I have to jump into the race, and I'm jumping in the race, not competing against anybody or criticizing anybody, but knowing that this city, an all-American city, has given me much, has done so much for me. I ask myself, what is it that I can give to this? I can give back, and it is that that energy, that passion, that makes me to jump into the race, to be a servant, and for the people to listen to them and see how we can work to make this all-American city a dream city for all of us.
Okay, so you're running in District 7, is that right?
You mentioned District 7. Yes, I said District 7. That, 7 is spelled S-E-V-E-N. S, to promote safety, decent housing. E, to promote equity, diversity, inclusion. V, to promote vibrant, welcoming communities. E, to promote economic development. And N, to promote neighborhood revitalization. And I always say that there are 7 continents in the world, 7 days a week. 7 is my district. Come spend 7 days in District 7. You will travel the world over in 7 days. Together, we build Lowell. The best is yet to come. Vote for through District 7.
Okay. Okay, Fru, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fru.
You're very welcome.
What part of the city is 7?
The city is 7?
Yeah, Georgia's what part of the city is 7? District
Acre.
7.
Oh, the 7 is Lower Highlands and the Acres. Like I said, I have lived in this district since 1985. August and July 21st, 1985.
So it's Lower Highlands.
Lower, yes. It's just a little bit of it, but the majority of the district is really the acres.
It's mostly the acre.
Why would you want to run for council?
That's what he was just saying.
George, one thing, I mean, you are one of the first that when my community needed a function hall, I approached you and you refer me to the Hellenic Center, and they have welcomed us. And those are the things that when you welcome people, they become, you treat them well, and then there is always that aspect of giving back to make the place, to improve others. I believe that you have to join and give your own contribution. There are some people who will stand on the sideline and criticize those who are working or those who are sitting. I am not one of those persons. I am coming to give an alternative because you can only choose from many, a pool of many. I am coming with new ideas and also saying that, Lowell has done so much for all of us. And Lowell has always encouraged participation in building Lowell. No one has monopoly of ideas. And as long as we open the doors for people to feel, to be encouraged to come in and contribute ideas, that's what advancement means. And that is one of the things that I feel that I have a lot to offer for Lowell. I feel that Lowell has given me a lot, and I will not hesitate to step in the kitchen and feel how hot the kitchen is.
Okay. Anybody else? Going once? Oh, John.
So, Fru, I know you have to go to real work, but I want to ask you, you say you have some new ideas. Can you give me 3 of your new ideas?
That's very good, John. I already told you that, to deal with people, you have to talk to people. That I have a TV show that I bring these leaders on to express their ideas. I've interviewed the city manager. I've interviewed the superintendent of schools. I yourself hang around people who know more than you so that you can learn. I'm surrounded with all these wonderful people. So these are ideas that I will become. Another thing is, I talked about neighborhood revitalization. Neighborhood revitalization doesn't mean that you sit and watch the TV. I'll walk around. I have been walking around. I was part of bringing the festival into Lowell. The Lowellians have traveled to Africa through us bringing the African festival here. And that's another contribution that we encourage. We talk about diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's also opening the minds of the people to see that we have differences, values, and those values, if we look them well, it's only going to benefit all of us. And if you look now, the vibrant immigrant communities in Lowell, they are bringing also their culture, and that also helps in boosting the economy. I talked about working with the police. I worked with Commissioner Ed Davis. I worked with Commissioner Ken LaValle. I worked with Bill Taylor. Created them to come to the community, to our African churches, to present and meet the people. And those are initiatives that I walked into the office of these police chiefs. And they saw that it was a good idea, a good thing. So I am one person, if I have an idea, I don't hesitate to bring it to the authorities. And I'm so thankful that they have encouraged me and they have a listening ear. And I encourage that to all the Lowellians too. So those are really initiatives that I would like to bring to open Lowell so that it becomes a discussion community that we listen and learn from each other.
How would you reach out to the Greek community?
George, you are already a great friend. If I didn't find that the Greeks are also my supporters, we use the Hellenic Center. Most Africans use the Hellenic Center. It was through my connection with you. I have George, who is the coordinator of unfortunately, his name too is George. Each time I call him, I mention your name. Most of them, they know me through that.
Because I vote absentee ballot.
But I need your voice to connect me to that community. You should know people who are here in Lowell, that you can direct me to go and talk to them, because I will not sit and just talk. I would like to go and meet people so that they know who I am and they know me by who I am and talking to them. So I would be ready to walk and knock the doors of those that have not been approached before.
Okay, I'm concerned about the economy of the United States with fruit being stuck here and not at work. So we need to cut him loose at some point.
Thank you very
next
much.
week through you'll talk some more.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Let me
Fru.
go
Thank you, Fru.
vote Fru for Lowell.
Will you be running against the mayor?
The mayor is my very good friend. Like I said, I will maintain a very clean campaign. It's about the issues of Lowell, not about individuals.
Because I think he has the Lower Highlands as well.
Well, we all will be serving Lowell. That's what is important, not individuals.
Okay. John.